So despite this first clip, we're not actually flying United today. I just thought this would be a cool shot to include because we're flying out of SFO, and SFO being a major United hub, you know, I just thought it was a cool shot. But we're actually flying Swiss today. By Swiss, I mean, this is kind of interesting because I always thought it was Swiss Air or Swiss, and I thought they were synonymous. Until I realized that Swiss Air actually went bankrupt quite a while ago. If you saw that one air crash investigations episode, because their cockpit caught on fire or something, and that was really bad PR. And they were already doing pretty bad financially, so that was the last thing that they could take. This is just a little glass of champagne, welcome beverage, and we have a coat. I'm just showing the seat around. If you haven't realized, showing a seat or filming a seat is actually quite difficult to do if you're not trying to be a huge douche with no etiquette. So you have to, it's kind of hard to do it kind of under the radar, because otherwise you have to stand up, block the aisle, I guess, singular in this case. It's not fun to do. So here's just me awkwardly showing the seat. They provide this thing of sleepwear, which is apparently made of wood. It feels so nice to wear. This was probably that. And of course, this is actually from the leg back. They provide headphones. They didn't provide it on my leg for whatever reason from SFO. So I stitched that clip together. That was actually from the return flight from Zurich to SFO. This is what they give you for the menu. Of course, they got to include all the lovely pictures of Switzerland in there. Oh, okay, this is actually what we're interested in, some food. You can pause the video here if you want to take a look at that, and then I'm just going to skip over all the other languages here that I cannot read whatsoever. Oh, there's a quicker option too, I guess, if you want to go to sleep early. And some snacks and stuff, some wines, and I think I'm just freezing this clip for a little bit. I guess I wanted you guys to be able to see that. And some more stuff. Oh, and there's the Swiss signature cocktail, which I guess is the airline's signature cocktail because they said signature cocktail. Of course, that makes sense. It's really good, and I'll show that in a little bit. It's actually on, I had it on the return leg because I didn't discover it on the leg from SFO. So I'll show that in a little bit. Though that's the remote, and I think there were some massage settings there too, with what I just showed back there. No one really uses the remote anymore, I swear, because after touchscreen, or after they mass implemented touchscreen on a bunch of airlines, they just stopped doing that. This is a bit of storage to the bottom right, and I think that's some shoe storage too. This seat has a bunch of storage, and speaking of which, I should probably mention now. Oh, hold on. Footwell first. The footwell is really tight. I should probably emphasize that, and there's no overhead air vents. It's a very quick review. I have to talk really fast. But the footwell is not it, because it ramps up to most footwells. The footrest area, there's a space underneath where you can put a bag or something. Not here though. Not on Swiss. We're not doing that on Swiss. There's also a nice little light to the left. Pretty cool. But yeah, it is a very tight footwell. And I'm on one of the bigger seats too. So the even number seats are larger than the odd number seats. The odd numbers they share. It's a two-seater, so you don't have direct aisle access. The even numbers that you get this massive seat with the left and the right. I'm very bad at describing this for whatever reason. You guys know what I mean. It's just a bigger seat with more space and a bunch of storage space. Storage space is where they really excel. And this is a lovely takeoff from San Francisco. It's always nice to take off and land in San Francisco. Very scenic. But again, the footwell was just not it. It was way too tight, even for someone like me, and I'm not particularly a big guy. So if you're even slightly bigger than me, it's just not going to be comfortable. You're probably going to have to book first class to get a bit more space, because especially with that ramp up, as I said earlier, most footrests, they have a little bit of space underneath. You can put some luggage under, well, not exactly luggage, but you can put a small bag or something. You can put your shoes there. Here, if you really want to put your shoes somewhere, you're going to have to put it in the cubby or off to the side somewhere, because it's going to be annoying if you want to just walk up to go to the bathroom. That's the annoying part. This is the wooden sleepwear, as I was talking about earlier. And I don't know how they made this out of wood, but it is insanely comfortable. And even more interestingly, they didn't provide it on the leg back from Zurich, which is kind of odd. So I guess that's the trade-off. I don't get headphones on the way to Zurich, and I don't get sleepwear on the way back. These are the amenity kit items. They're actually quite limited. Hot towel, of course, it was burning hot. I don't even know how they make it burning hot, and I know it's a bunch of airlines do. It's always burning hot. I guess maybe they have a little microwave system on board. I'm not sure. I never looked it up. And of course, you get some cinematic shots here of the wing and the light. Lovely to see. And the map. Who doesn't like the map? I don't know where were we flying over Canada at this point? Something like that. And of course, nuts. That was a really awkward pause. I was waiting for it to come in. It's just, it took a little while longer than I thought it would. This is, I ordered a GD Estorn. I can't pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. This was the appetizer. It was actually really good. You can see probably from the video that the meat was quite dry looking. It was dry, but it was really good flavor-wise. And this was probably the best part of the entire meal service. And then we got over to this cheese soup, and then things started going downhill. I don't know what. The cheese soup did not taste very good. And this looks probably about as good as the presentation, maybe even slightly worse, actually. And, of course, we end off with the cheese plate. And cheese, I don't have any complaints about cheese. It's cheese. They did come around with some eye masks because they weren't provided in the amenity kits. And then you get the bedding setup here that I made for myself. They do provide mattress covers, which is pretty nice. But it's so hot that, honestly, I mean, I barely slept. It was way too hot, especially with no overhead air vents. There was just really not much circulation going on. This was breakfast. They gave some, I think I got some pastries, and then there was some prosciutto and ham on the left side along with some cheese. This was actually really good. And of course, I got some English breakfast tea to the top right corner there. This, I was pretty satisfied with, and then I got a glass of Riesling to end off with because I like Riesling. And then they provided these chocolates. They actually did provide another chocolate service throughout. I think sometime after the meal service ended, they provided this box of chocolates, and it was delicious. The guy actually recommended two of them. There was a white one and a brown one. I know that's very generic. It's like, wow, the guy recommended white and brown chocolate. That's insane. But it was really good. And surprisingly, during my entire stay here at Switzerland, the chocolates within that box provided by Swiss were probably the best tasting chocolates on the trip, hands down. And then there's just some more plane spotting, an Emirates A380, I think, and a Qatar. I think that was a 787, just based on the position of the doors. I could be completely wrong though. And then just panning over a little bit. This is just a little taxi that I wanted to film. What else can I talk about during this taxi? It's pretty good. It was a nice flight. Oh, there's a British Airways flight too. I think that's a regional. I swear I've never seen the regional jets before. And then we can see our lovely 777 reflect on the glass as we taxi over to our gate. Pretty solid flight, and we're not done yet because I do want to show the lounge. Okay, here we go. Here's the business class lounge in Zurich, and I'm holding it very close or very low to the ground because I don't really want to awkwardly hold a camera in front of people's faces. So I felt this was the best alternative, was just to hold it as low as I could to my lower knee near my foot. So this is doing that. Pretty fair food offerings. I did enjoy the food. It's just pretty limited. So I think that bar was the main one. And then there's another salad bar that I'm about to show as I walk over here. It's on the left side. Yeah, there it is. That's a little salad bar. So the food options are pretty limited. But overall, the flavor's there. So I enjoyed the food overall. There was not too many complaints there. Bathroom up ahead, just beyond those glass doors. And you can see that there's a pretty predominant concrete rocky theme, which I guess it's pretty predominant all over Switzerland and a lot of buildings that I've noticed. And I guess they have it here too. I guess they just really like rocks, which I guess makes sense because this is a country with I don't know what I'm saying anymore. A lot of rocks. I like their theme. I just wanted to point it out because I thought it was interesting. And then we have this little art feature which I guess also doubles as seating, because I did see some people sitting there. I'm not sure if they actually want people sitting there, but if you're gonna put chairs down, then someone's gonna sit there anyway. And now we're walking out to the patio, which is by far the nicest feature of this lounge, especially if you like plane spotting. You get this massive viewing deck right out here that gives you, and I'm about to raise my phone in just a second. When am I gonna raise it? Am I gonna do it now? No? Okay, there we go. That's much better. And we can actually see it's a lovely viewing deck. They split it between all of their lounges, I'm pretty sure, which is why it's blocked off at the two ends. They're reserved for the other lounges, which I guess they get their own spaces. Which you need some separation there to make sure people, I guess, don't cross into the other lounges on accident. But it's a very nice area just to see some takeoffs and landings. And what's more interesting is if you're actually landing and taking off from Zurich, you won't see the Alps as I initially envisioned. But that also makes sense because I would assume this Zurich airport area has to be somewhat flat, at least to a degree, because you can't exactly be taking off and landing in the Alps. It would be kind of quite dangerous, I would assume. And of course we have the Swiss What type? Is this a 777? It might be. We have this lovely aircraft coming into a gate. It's just a really nice viewing deck overall. So if you're here, I'd highly recommend this. This was probably a highlight of our stay. Not really, that's a lie. You can get a bunch of views everywhere else too. There's a Singapore flight right there. Another Swiss one right beside it. And this is some of the lounge food. Again, not the best presentation, which makes sense because it's buffet style food, but it was really good taste-wise. And then this is when I discovered the Swiss Alpine cocktail. It was absolutely delicious. And also, I went back out to the viewing deck just to show off the binoculars, which they also provided. I sort of tried them. They're pretty small. I don't really know much about binoculars. They also, there's a nice map of the airport runways next to the side. This is another one of those Swiss cocktails that I got on board on the return flight. Some cheese as the appetizer. So instead of nuts, I got cheese this time. This was just a thing of salmon. Really good too. Again, nothing against salmon. I love salmon. And I love the presentation. I want to show the food on the return leg because usually people say it's different. It's really not. This is some meat dish. This was really bad. Which, I guess, and a cheese to end off. Can't even talk. Okay, some more cake. I can't talk. I can't say what I want to say. That meat dish, which was the main entree, this was breakfast. I can't speak. There's too much footage. Or it's going by too fast because I don't have enough footage. That's a better way to say it. And I ended off the flight with the cocktail that you can see sort of on the right too. But yeah, that's about it. It's a decent airline. I can't really say much about it, but that meat dish was not. Their entrees aren't the greatest. Their appetizers are pretty solid. Their desserts are pretty solid. Entrees not so much. Even on the return, like from Zurich, which is their flagship hub, so we can confidently, fairly say that it's not SFO's fault. Pretty solid airline though. I mean, I'd fly it again. It's just their hard products is a little odd. Their service was pretty solid. Food is hit or miss, but not as bad as United, so I'll take it.